Hi, and welcome back to the third session. Today we are going to talk about affiliate marketing, but not only affiliate marketing, I'm sure. And for this reason, I wanted to invite two persons who are really expert in this field, even if, for instance, the first guest, who is the managing director of marketing signals, doesn't work only in the affiliate field. The second one, instead, is a very, I would say, a very seasoned SEO consultant. The company, his company is called Puani, if I'm correct in the pronunciation. Now we'll ask him. Puani Consulting, and it declares themselves a digital communication content strategy. So even if this second guest is very inside the affiliate, he also offer consultation for other types of, obviously, brands, industry, et al. Who are these mysterious guests? These mysterious guests are Gareth Hoyle and Rishi Lakhani. How are you doing?
Yes, great.
Brilliant. Nice to see you, Gianluca. It's been a long time between drinks, as we say.
Yes, it was. Let's see if we are going to meet up again in around the world for one conference or another. And as I always ask to all my guests, how is SEO treating you in the past month with all the changes that we are living?
I'll happily take the lead on this one, Rich. It's been an interesting month, to say the least. It's been an interesting few months since the AI overviews are taking over the world. SEO is always changing. If there's one set of people that will figure this out for our brands, it's SEOs because we have to. I've been on many client calls in the last month where I'm answering questions where I think I'm giving the right advice, but really none of them have a total understanding of what's happening. But yeah, I mean, luckily we work with quite large brands, so we get a lot of earned media, and we're seeing our clients appearing in AI overviews. So that allows me to sleep a little bit at night. But yeah, we're sure strapping in for the ride, shall we say?
Yeah, like Gareth said, it's been interesting. But ever since I saw the initial announcement about AOVs and kind of like figured it this way, I mean, I'm one of those guys who always says that Google's out to get everything they can, right? And even if you look back at my post from 15 years ago, you'd see me predicting this kind of behavior from Google. So I wasn't surprised. And I'd already started gearing up some of my clients who are willing to work with me on the longer term strategy to actually move towards already building their content in such a way that it'll be easier for it to be accepted by these AI overviews and actually and featured better in LLM. So we're talking more about gearing things up. And actually, where most people are seeing a significant drop off in their traffic, I think majority of my clients are actually still seeing growth, which is nice to be. It's a nice place to be in, to be honest.
Yes, I'm sure. And this is something common, and somehow we are in, at least me, I'm feeling like in a sort back to the future situation as when 20 years ago we were trying to understand how SEO was working. And
Yeah.
so, because everything was substantially new, and so we were experimenting a lot was shared, but no
Yeah, of
one
course,
was
guesswork.
really sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And unlike today's marketers, we didn't have access to advanced analytics or tools or whatever, right? So, I mean, you're from that same era. I probably know you just as long as I've been in SEO, maybe a little bit less, but we didn't have access to all of the data and the tools and the technology that's available now that makes it actually significantly easier to understand where you are. So, yeah, it's just nothing new. We're used to it.
Yeah, I guess the exciting and also worrying thing is a lot of the LLM seem to be looking at volume of mentions. Now, we've all lived where volume of mentions equals Google success. Are we going to go back to the days of link spamming or citation spamming? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen,
I
yeah, I
fascinated.
love this. I love the guys offering the LLM optimization services right now, going down the, we'll put you in a listicle and then charge you to get into the listicle. What you don't understand is when you pay for those listicles, you're also paying for your competitors to be in that same list. So a lot of people are going to get differential treatment because they're not even paying to be in that list. A competitor is paying to be at the top of that list, right? But all the rest are still in there. So all the competitions are being included in that listicle as well. So it's quite, I find it quite hilarious, to be honest, that people are offering that service.
It's
Yeah,
exciting. Like if you're not willing to be constantly learning and reading and trying to improve your knowledge working in SEO, then maybe you should
You
try
might as well give
PPC.
up. Yeah, you should. I mean, well, PP is just as complicated now. Yeah, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm still seeing 4 paid listings above most AI overviews. Let's put it that way. So
Yeah.
they've not
Well, I'm
like given
seeing
up.
paid lists in the middle of the page sometimes, which is insane.
yes. And maybe if we want to create some hypotheses, which surely are going to be a reality, is we know that many, for instance, news sites shows also in paid links the opportunity to have another income. So now they don't even need to be paid for links. We just need to be
Links
paid for
mentions. Yeah,
for
the paper
formation.
mentions.
And anyway, if you remember, Rishi, we did an experiment back in the days that now many others are doing of creating this kind of list in order we were using testing the the influence of LinkedIn for this. And we did it and we had success. So
Yeah,
for a certain time, if we were asking to ChatGPT the who are the best
the top
SEOs,
SEOs.
the
Yeah,
top SEOs in the UK, the list was substantially the same that we were pushing
yeah.
from, yes, through LinkedIn and creating always the same list or mentioning the list did and sharing the list
Yes.
made by people of a group. And but one thing that was coming out but we didn't really clarify it after is that there is a agency to this kind of push, really push action for influencing the LLMs. Immediately after or just after a period, this kind of listing are not confirmed continuously by a constant action of creating similar lists where you are always present, then that kind of list, the initial ones, is going to disappear to be substituted by a more, let's say, traditional and more, let's call it authoritative list than when one push through this kind of experiment. Let's call that. So,
I think
and
what with that experiment actually happened is when we started using LinkedIn as a source, especially me and Mark and a couple of the others, a large number of other people started pushing their own lists out. So we caused a dilution effect by getting the list public. If we'd kept the experiment quite private, would have probably had a much better result. I mean, even now, if you Google like top SEO experts, me and Mark, our lists are the top 2 featured in AI overviews, but none of the people on our list are heavily shown. I mean, you're in the list, but they've mixed it up now. They're brought people from other places. And they've got you in there, Mark's in there, Jerry's in there is one of the targets that we use. So, but mine and Mark's results still show up right under AI overviews as the LinkedIn profile, but there was so much dilution. So it's about controlling that dilution. And but it is definitely gameable. You know, gaming SEO is what we do. So
yes, and so not because I want to fall into the mistake of associating, as so many people do, affiliate marketing with this kind of experimental tactics,
yeah,
because I know of many, let's call them as what they are, brands that are living on affiliate marketing, and they are totally licit brand. They are not the classic image stereotype of the alligator that was so popular just 18 months ago when all the news sites, especially in the States, were shaming Google about the quality of the SERPs. But we know that maybe, I think this is my sensation, marketing-based website, along with the classic publishers, maybe because they also have a similar nature in order to present themselves and to target their audience. Maybe it's one that could possibly risk the most by this expansion of AI in search, classic search. In this case, I'm talking of AI overview. And probably also you have also seen something similar in the States if you are treating with United States clients with AI mode, but especially it's AI overview. And obviously with LLMs, because we know that LLMs, even more than Google, tend to take the user inside their own platform. So the traffic from LLMs is usually very tiny. Have you seen something in this direction? Am I right in this consideration or not?
The first things first here to consider is when people think about, especially in our industry, unfortunately, people think about affiliate marketing, they think about these niche microsites that are built for Amazon reviews and that sort of thing. The fact is, the affiliate industry in the UK last year was worth 1.7 billion in revenue in the UK alone, right? So
Mhm.
it's a massive industry. And a lot of these people that you'd consider affiliates, most people aren't even aware that these sites are affiliate sites, that 90% of the revenue for these websites come from affiliate revenue. In terms of sales, you're looking at almost 2.2 million pounds every hour generated through affiliate marketing. So yes, these guys are going to spend every effort to manipulate Google as much as they can and make sure that they're ahead of the algorithm. It's not a small industry. It's not the niche guys that you're playing with. These guys are big players. Most affiliates that I consult with on and off, I have a Pouch network. These guys' average revenue of these affiliates is about 1 million a month. So they have the budget. They're willing to throw everything at it because they're building these platforms and sites specifically to dominate search. But that doesn't mean they're leaving themselves exposed to search either, right? But it's a big, big, big business.
And you, Gareth, what you...
Yeah, so I mean, we have a few affiliate clients. We tend to work at the sort of larger size of affiliates. So we have a car insurance affiliate, we have a flight and hotel booking affiliate, where we're actually being featured in the LLM and the AI overviews. So we know that if you can send the right brand signals, if you can do real business stuff, then affiliates can still thrive. I think the lazy affiliates that were still here after Helpful Content Update. Luckily, Helpful Content Update in September 23 took away most of the can I call them idiots? That were just literally copying and pasting AI content into WordPress and hoping to make money. We've never worked at that level, so I can't comment on how they're doing, but they can only be struggling because they've got no brand signals. They've got no earned media publications. They're not getting included in any sort of listicle, which is what is powering a lot of LLM stuff. Nobody's talking about them on Reddit or Quora. So I guess if the affiliate is treating their business like a business rather than Google skin, then there's no reason why they can't thrive. I was at an event in London this week called the Elevate Summit, run by Affiverse, who do a lot of work in the affiliate space. And there were people that were investing into the future there. And I think where we're seeing people really thrive in that affiliate space is where they're not just reliant on one source of traffic. So these people are running their own Slack communities, they're running their own Facebook communities, they're running paid ads. Like they're not just reliant on that free Google traffic.
Totally agree. I think, yes, that this kind of strategy, which is a strategy that is valid, obviously, for any kind of business, not just affiliate, it's maybe the key. In a recent conversation that I had with Mike King, he was calling this omni omni-model, because we were talking of AI specifically, but it can be defined as omnichannel. So, and ultimately is what also the classic EEAT signals are leading us to, because you have to demonstrate you are not just a website doing drop shipping, for instance, but a website that cares that, yes, I'm doing drop shipping, but I care about user experience. I care about who I am. I care about the products that I'm proposing to you. And even if I'm not producing them or not buying them and distributing them directly, I know that I want this product and not this other one. And I'm here to help you deciding, taking a good decision, helping you out. And yes, this use of other channels from the classic TikTok, classic social media, but also especially, and I think very not so much has been talked about private messaging groups that are, as you were saying, thriving and becoming very popular, like especially um, into the Discord community. That is a place where, obviously, for SEO, strictly SEO, it's hard. It's not really SEO formally, but as SEO or as a strategist, we should always try to convince our clients to experiment with all these different source of
Channel.
traffic and revenue. What you were
Yeah.
going to say, Rishi?
I was just going to say, I mean, I write for the organization Afiverse, and I've actually put together two major guides. One's on using Discord as an affiliate and using Telegram as an affiliate. And I'm putting together another major case study on how one of my clients who does extremely well in search, but also uses Facebook to generate about £1 million. And this is a small business, right? This is a very small business. Their annual revenue is about 6 million, but 1 million of that comes from Facebook groups exclusively without any ad revenue.
And obviously, I'm not going to ask you to to give us all the juice of this guide, also because maybe we don't have the time for that. But if you want to distill, for instance, for the Discord one, or if you see something in common between all these Facebook, Discord, and Telegram, three characteristics that yes you should consider in order to attack and target this kind of channels, what they should be.
I mean, the primary thing I tell, or all the stuff that I work my clients with, especially in Discord and Telegram, is there's so many really, really good AI tools specifically built to manage those communities because it can be chaos, right? So the first thing I tell them, build a plan and build a set of tools before you even start building your strategy. After that, it's literally just getting discovered and building and completely making sure that you're in the right places to get your channels discovered. And it's the same as how we used to use Facebook marketing of groups before. Just get your presence in the right places. You can also run ads in plenty of other places. People don't realize, but you can actually run tons of ads on Reddit about your Discord group in the right subreddit, and you're going to get an influx of members.
Yes, indeed. And in this case, as I also said in other episode, I think that brands should really learn from creators. The creators and the creator economy had been maybe the first really pushing on all these different channels. Another one is the Patreons, for instance, and as a way to create community. So I think that the real essence of all this static is creating communities, because creating community, you create volume of people that you know that are going to trust you and to return to your site and eventually to buy from you instead of going to another place,
Yeah.
maybe going directly to you.
I mean,
Gareth, do
traditional
you?
marketing, we call it
Yes.
captive audiences. I've been telling my clients for the last 3 years, keep building your email list, keep building your social media
Yeah.
groups.
You, Gareth, did you? I'm sure you also explore these ways of expanding the flows of traffic and revenue for your client.
Yeah, I mean, similar to what Rishi just said, then like the only medium that you truly own is email. So I've always, whether it's an e-commerce or whether it's an affiliate client, we kind of just view search as an acquisition channel. So once, if I can break even on getting sale number one, then brilliant. But sale number 2 and 3 is going to come from email or from community. Whether it's, we have a client that does affiliates in the flight space, and they run private Telegram communities where you're paying $19 a month to get in, but they're publishing cheap flights and cheaper hotels than what you're seeing on their website. So that way they're 100% controlling the message. Their conversion rates are frighteningly high because they own that message and it's on your phone. And if you're willing to pay to be part of their community, 100% you're going to be getting multiple sales from those users. But you still need to acquire that new user in the first place to tell them about your community. You probably need to provide them 1 or 2 sales in the mainstream before you build up the trust. And those honestly, we haven't moved that far away from signals at the moment. Like everything that Google taught us with the framework is valid in most channels of digital marketing, to be honest.
And so let's talk instead of something that we touch almost as a funny talk at the beginning. What about link building? We know that link building has always been seen with suspicious eyes from a part of the community, of the SEO community, but we know that they are important. I mean, we're just talking about EAT. The A for authority is based on link. So creating a natural linking profile is something that is into every correct SEO strategy. But now that mention maybe are coming to be important because of LLMs, what of all the many tactics related to link building and amplification of a brand, let's call them so, what do you think are the most effective still?
Well, to start with, I struggle a little bit with the fact that people are focusing on mentions. So for the last 17 years, I've always considered an unlinked mention as a failed link. So you're going to do well to convince me that
It works otherwise.
unlinked mentions is a successful digital PR campaign, if I'm honest. The reality is that LLMs haven't taken over Google yet. They haven't taken over all of. I'm not saying it won't, and I can see every graph that I look at tells me that it's going to overtake it at some point. But at the moment, if I want to rank for blue jeans, or if I want to rank for car insurance for over 80-year-olds, I'm probably going to need some internal and a fair few external links going to that page to rank. The journalists and the PR and the listicle type activity that we conduct for a lot of the brands that we represent are not going to get you links to those commercial pages. So as it stands today, on Friday, the 18th of July, 2025, we are still having to use link building tactics to get do follow. I know there's no such thing as do follow, it's no follow or just normal, but for argument's sake, do follow links to those commercial pages to get them ranked. And I'm sure there are many people in the community, and I know you walk many a clean path, Gianluca, but the reality is that if you want to rank the majority of websites for high intent commercial terms, you still need links to the page. And
Totally.
that's how it is at the moment. What we don't know, and I love the fact that 3 weeks after something comes out, our industry has experts that know everything that you could possibly know about LLMs. Nobody's actually really figured out what the trust and authority metrics that LLMs are using. Now, we can look at frequency of cited domains. So we know that Reddit is always appearing in these. We know that Quora and Medium are also appearing quite a lot. We can look at SEMrush's studies. We can look at the CIPR, so the sort of the UK PR governing body have produced reports. The one that I'm thinking of is done by PR Agency One, and it looks at the fact that the majority of sites that are getting cited are either the sort of user-generated content trusted forums, or they are earned media. So where we've been doing a lot of digital PR, or as we prefer to call it, PR, for some of our super affiliates, we are seeing them cited. So from a link building perspective, it's business as usual at Marketing Signals, because what we've been doing in the past, and we're not totally dirty, but we're not 100% clean. So we kind of, let's say we're 80%, but it's working. And at the moment, and this was one of the things I was trying to get across in the talk that I delivered earlier this week, all I can tell you is what's working today. Like there is going to be a new GPT out, or there's going to be Gemini 5.0, whatever the next iteration is going to be called. And it could totally change everything. We don't know that. Your clients don't know that. Your competitor agencies don't know that. All we can really do is focus with what we can see in the headlines. And at the moment, links and PR and being cited in the trusted publications that we consider to be trusted from a Google link building perspective is still having an impact with LLMs, which, as far as I'm concerned, as a man with 20 years left on my mortgage, is good news. So, yeah.
If I may, it's fun because you are very much more expert on this field than I can be. But if I recommend or suggest strategy / tactics that sometimes I use and recommend to some of our clients is, okay, let's look at the SERPs. For instance, in order to individuate, because, and then we can also talk about the zero-click search phenomenon and how it is affecting your clients. But for instance, we know that because of this behavior of Google and also eventually the LLMs of maintaining, gating people inside the search, inside there, google.com, bing.com, chatgpt.com, etc., etc., etc. I always try to see what are my non-competitors that are presented by Google. And especially I'm looking for instance, when we talk about products and Google start to present, for instance, videos or short of creator talking about that product, maybe which is a competitor product, the product of a competitor, not ours. Or maybe when we see investigating, maybe doing competitive analysis, we can see the product knowledge graph, and we can see the field about review, etc., 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 who are reviewing the competitors' website and products. What I do is substantially collecting all this information of YouTube channel, Reddit thread, specific website doing review, etc., etc., etc. And then from there, I'm going, if this, and I try to see which are the one that constantly Google is showing, not all the creators, not all the thread by some specific user, or not all the website that are doing review, the ones that are always present. Like, for instance, in ChatGPT, we know that ChatGPT takes a lot of brand mention from G2. So where should we be present for being mentioned in ChatGPT? In G2. So I do substantially the same for Google. And so collecting all this information, then I say what we can do for this kind of people so that they can start reviewing on a video our product, reviewing on an article our product. Many times, obviously, it's not just something I'm not so candid to say. It's going to be, let's send the product to them and ask, please, would you like to? We know that if there is a transactional moment, even if we can call it co-marketing action, because one thing that we could do, especially with creator, bringing the creator on our side, on our website, in order to have them as our face, at least for a certain period. I'm not a link builder, but something that I usually tend to recommend if it is the case.
Yeah, and if they've got a decent product or service, then creators will be happy to work with you. Look, I'm not saying we're perfect and we know everything that we should be doing, but a lot of the time when we're producing content now, we're looking at how we slice it into shorts and reels. We're looking at how we get third-party validation as well as first-party content production. And we're looking at how we use this content across all channels. And I think that the speed and the that we're used to Google indexing and warehousing data. My lord, I can only imagine how much warehousing ChatGPT has versus Google. And you think that they built that from the ground up on amazing 2021, 2022 NVIDIA GPUs that they're constantly swapping out. The way that they're going to be able to connect the dots, like, I think you have to be across everything and looking at what your competitors are doing and looking at what Google is ranking and looking at the intent of the content that's being produced that ChatGPT is spitting out is what you should already have been doing for the last forever.
Yeah.
I can't imagine us fundamentally changing what we do for our clients, because what we do for our clients is market their goods and services on the internet. And the benefits of doing what we do across multiple channels is that the collectors of information are collecting all of our information in, whether it's podcasts, videos, images, blog posts, and it's rewarding us by us being omnipresent. So I can't imagine we're gonna change much in what we do at Market Signals anyway.
I mean, one of the things that you said about looking at what the AI always is linking to and stuff, right? So I had a specific issue. A client of mine wanted to be this top list in their industry, and the three sites that were showing up in the AI overviews just didn't have them listed. And when we reached out to them about saying, look, can we get our client listed? They wanted to charge about $3,000 each, and which we thought was just completely ridiculous. So what I did instead, I reached out to 2 or 3 authority sites that I have had historical relationships with. We created and curated our own lists on those sites. And then we, on the basis of, we will drive traffic to those pages on their sites. So they're giving us the page free of charge and allowing us to put our content on there. But in return, we have to build links, and we built links to those 3 sites. And as a result, for this amount of money that it would have cost me to get my client listed for 1 year onto those sites, I now have 3 websites ranking, and actually 2 of which are showing up in the AI overviews for the keyword that was important to us. And we got the others pushed out. Sometimes you just have to use traditional marketing strategies. Don't just start shelling out money the minute someone asks for it. Think about how you can use it better.
It does seem slightly simplistic, some of the tactics that you're suggesting, which is getting you featured in the LLMs and the AI overviews. And because we're at the start of the journey, like we're 20 odd years into SEO for Google, and we've learned and we've got it right and we've got it wrong over the years. I'm sure all 3 of us will accept that. And we're literally just at the start of the curve for AI optimization. And, it seems crazy that we would even think to do this, but I'm sure AI is going to start indexing podcasts. And I can start saying that Marketing Signals are the #1 agency for LLM optimization in the UK and US for big brands. And maybe this is the snippet that will get me featured in AI overviews. And it's almost like we're trying to move from optimizing a page to literally optimizing a passage of text within that page. And I'm enjoying it anyway.
I call it micro optimization, and it's absolutely what we've been doing over the last year or so. And literally finding those little nuggets where you need to be and just honing into them hard and just getting it done.
And now another question. One common topics now is we are moving from click-centric to visibility-centric SEO. So because, again, is not really news because zero-click SERP is something that started even before the pandemic, but it has been enhanced, for instance, by AI overview, the classic, big decoupling, the alligator graphics on Search Console and so on. How are you explaining this sort of conceptual change in terms of the most important metric? For instance, let's say, are becoming the impression instead of the clicks to your clients.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to explain it. Like we still have clients that are obsessed with year-on-year traffic growth. And for some of our clients, the year-on-year traffic growth for the next 12 months is going to suck, because a year ago, we spent 3 years writing content for featured snippets and position zero. Now it's gone. Like not coming back either, by the way. Like I don't think Google's going to give up on AI overviews and go back to featured snippet. But there are a lot of brands out there that, if I'm honest with you, if you're just measuring raw traffic, you're probably measuring it wrong. Like we actually prefer to be measured on conversion. So whether that's to get a quote, to get a flight for a price for a flight, or make a sale, that is fundamentally what we measured on. We are also producing for our clients, and a good friend of all three of us, Dixon Jones, has his tool, Wi-Fi, What AI Knows About You. And we're running a lot of reports for our clients, but also maybe 5 to 10 of their competitors, to just let the clients know that this isn't a local issue for their domain. Like this is across the whole of the industry. Luckily, because we do a lot of work in the US, the AI overviews are so prominent in the SERPs in the US now. Even the marketing directors and the C-suite that we're dealing with that aren't that savvy on SEO, they're noticing the change in UX, and they're noticing themselves that they're not visiting as many websites to get the information that they're looking for. So I think that the fact that it is so prominent, and it's not just on, I mean, a long time ago, zero-click searches were just on what time is it in New York today, whereas now they're across everything. So I think the education to the user is in when they're using it. So that's helping. But yeah, we send a lot of red traffic graphs year on year at the moment, and not a lot I can do about that, to be honest.
I mean, so I'm taking a completely different approach. I'm treating impression growth as a positive metric. Doesn't matter if traffic's not growing in line directly with it, because I say to my clients, look, what's one of the primary things you want people to know about you? You want them to know that you exist, is the first thing. Then they come to your website and buy something, is the secondary action. The primary action is building your brand awareness. How much do you spend on, let's say, external advertising? How much do you spend on display advertising? So calling your SEO just because you're getting significant amount of impressions but not enough clicks means you're theoretically losing out on that visibility that people are going to still see you. I mean, thankfully, none of my clients have the alligator kind of approach, which is great, because obviously we've been optimizing significantly for AI and kind of click through, and we're getting a lot of clicks from AI, by the way. We track that. But we still also record impression growth as a positive metric.
Yes, I think it is so. It's connecting maybe the impression metrics with trying to be able to connect it to eventually to the conversion metrics. So how much this augmented increased visibility is also having a reflection in, let's say, in terms of traffic, it could be direct traffic to the homepage, because as you were saying before, Gareth, for instance, the LLMs tends to cite or link only to the homepage. But it can be branded terms, so branded searches, because people all are doing a search journey regarding a specific service, product line, or just information, and see you always present in visibility in the SERPs, for instance. So they connect you, the brand with the terms. So start doing that kind of brand research. This is something that I saw, especially in the travel industry, happening even more with my travel industry clients. And the other one is trying to find the formula in order to, okay, we have increase in visibility, but Okay, maybe we have the traffic is moving, is not really diminishing, is diminishing organically, but is maybe improving from other sources, and then trying to find these connector, which are the conversion. How this visibility is connecting with conversion.
One way you can check this, and we're actually running analysis is for a particular client of mine for some set of terms where we know we've got very, very strong visibility, but we've also got paid ads for that. We are adjusting our paid ad messaging to reflect slightly the AI overview messaging as well. And we are seeing a very, very significant growth in click-through on those ads and conversions as a result. Whereas click-through rate before, and we've always been in that space, was somewhere around 2 to 3%. After being in AI overviews, we're seeing that click-through rate go up to 5 to 6% sometimes. So you can correlate that growth, saying actually that AI overview is a great advertisement for people to then click on your brand the minute you're there on the sponsored sponsored space.
A lot. That's one of the challenges that I'm going to have, and I have them today, and I can only imagine them becoming more and more of a pain in the butt. So we're used to personalization of search on Google,
Yeah.
but when we start to think about AI and the amount of information it actually knows about us as we do more and more searches within its window, let's call it. So let's say I'm looking for some jewelry, and let's say that AI, as a sort of all-seeing being, knows that I like silver and that Rishi likes gold, just for argument's sake. And Gianluca, you can like platinum because we'll join you in this example. So really, if I'm looking for a new necklace or a new bracelet, AI knows that I wear silver, not gold. So in theory, it's going to deliver me a totally personalized buying experience. So when it comes to measuring, like how much visibility do you have in LLMs, how on earth are these tools? Like, I know if you think about SEMrush, Ahrefs, all the sort of rank tracking stuff that we do, they can just pull generic SERPs.
Yeah, that's why I'm not, because it's our host here for personalization, but advanced web ranking is, for instance, in the free AI overview tool, is always measuring the visibility of, for instance, of AI overview, both logged in and not logged in. There is somehow a certain kind of consistency between the two metrics. They tend to be quite close together, but they are not the same. Sometimes, for instance, it appears that AI overview is more visible when you are not logged in, for instance, for certain industry. For
I feel
instance,
like
if
the best measure is a day one, minute one LLM search, because as soon as you do a second search and you're
It
logged in,
changes.
it
We
yeah,
change. We change.
yeah.
no,
But not
but
only
what you
that,
were, yeah, yes, Rishi, go, please
not
go.
only that, when we're talking about SEO, we're talking about Google's results specifically. Forget about LLMs in general, but we're talking about Google here right now. Those kind of commercial searches, Garrett, are already so manipulated by different products, right? So, for example, you type in the word jewelry into Google right now, you're probably first of all, it's going to be location locked. You're going to see sponsored product ads. You're going to then see a map pack with local businesses that sell jewelry, for example. Then you're going to see a bunch of organic and then a bunch of sponsored. And then you're going to see another whole batch of product ads in the middle of the page. And then you're going to see a massive pack about people also ask. They use these people also ask in these spaces quite a lot. And then they start showing people also buy from, which is another feature pack. And then you're also going to have shops and sponsored brands, and then people also search for. So in that whole space, they still haven't figured out how to personalize it, even though they know you right now. So we are quite far away from that
Yes,
stage.
Rishi, but I have something that I notice in my daily day to day. I don't know if you received lately a sort of pop up from Google. It happened when I was opening one day my Gmail, and all of a sudden Google presented me a
Yeah,
couple of
so the
pop ups.
personalized.
Yeah, I have a couple of pop-up asking me for permission of using all the information it has, not in when I'm logged in all the ecosystem of Google. So it can be Gmail, it can be Google Search, it could be YouTube, it can be the workspace of Google. So whatever I'm writing, like a buying checklist in a Google Doc. And this is what they were already announcing in the last Google I/O, because now we always thinking Google like Google, but we should start thinking Google is substantially Gemini, and Gemini is feeding all the Google ecosystem, and that is where concept like memories usually are 3 months. By default, is on Gemini is 3 months. After 3 months, flush the memory. You have to rebuild it for certain kind of things. For instance, in the Gemini app. And so there is, I think, where all we have said during our conversation about being a brand, act as a brand, look for visibility, be memorable, everything like this. Because whenever a person start to just doing one, we just need a click to enter also in the Chrome memory of a user. And so having more possibility to be presented in this personalized search. At least this is what I'm thinking. I don't know if you are thinking the same.
No, I mean, it's have to be a flush at some point because trends change, and we are almost. I feel like I've spent half of my SEO career guessing what is actually working on Google and experimenting with client money to try and get them increased visibility. All we can do is experiment, really. And you know, it's another 10 years of reading blog posts and reading case studies and going to conferences and learning about people's personal experiences on what's working for them. I mean, Google algorithm was never publicly released, or we never really fully understood it. I don't think that the developers that make the AI algorithms, even at Gemini, fully understand how they work. So we're just going to have to figure it out as we go, as we always do in SEO.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not really going to know. And I mean, this is the reason I think for the last 10 years, you know, when you're introducing me, you say digital marketing communication strategist. That's because I took out SEO from my title over 10 years ago, because I don't focus on a single channel. I focus on channels that work. So the client comes to me and say, I need SEO, but then I say, actually, SEO isn't right for you. PPC is better. Let's go down that route, right? It's about giving the right communication to the right audience. So yes, SEO has been a big part of my life, and I've been doing a lot on SEO. I don't define myself as an SEO.
Cool. Looking at the clock, it's almost 1 hour. And let's close here the SEO and search and whatever marketing conversation. Let's talk about you. I'm going to ask you just a quick question so that people can know you better besides the great marketers you are. So let's follow an order in order to not overlap. It's the same question, but first Gareth and second Rishi answering. So if you weren't working in marketing, what was the work you wanted to do when you were a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd always be something sales based, like the way my dopamine in my brain works. Like I have to achieve something. I mean, I have dream jobs. You know, I would love to be a test pilot for SpaceX. That would be pretty cool. I would love to be a professional paddle player, but I think those days have gone. I'm not sure my knees have got it in them. I played for 3 hours today, as we discussed earlier, Gianluca, and I can't wait to get out of this chair and stretch my legs, if I'm honest. But yeah, I think you know what, whatever I ended up doing that wasn't in marketing, it would be something where an inquisitive mind would thrive.
Mm-hmm. And you, Rishi?
My first love has always been entertaining people, right? And I think I still do that in what I do in terms of writing and talking and experimenting. So I used to DJ, and to be honest, I was very long time considered my path was quite straightforward. Either I was going to go into marketing or I was going to go down the route of clubs and running nights and clubs and organizing events and running bars and pubs and that kind of thing. So that was probably the thing that I would want to. If I had to switch and say you can't do marketing anymore, that's the route I would go.
But the other thing that we're both very passionate about is we both collect coins.
Coins.
So like silver coins, gold coins.
Coins.
Fun fact for you, Rishi is actually mentioned in my will. So if I die before Rishi, I don't want my family to take my coin collection and just give it to a collector because some of them are worth more than others. So I think that quite possibly we would both work together in pneumatists. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool, interesting profession. And let's talk about travel. You, especially Gareth, you have traveled a lot. I think you too, Rishi. But what is the place that you still have not traveled to, but you really want to visit?
Mine is so easy. So I've never been to South America. Like I have literally been. I was speaking to my good friend Olga Andrenko, and between us, I think that we've completed Europe. I've been to, other than maybe Liechtenstein and Andorra, I've been to everywhere in Europe. I've been all over the US. I've been all over Mexico. I've been all over the Caribbean, but I've just never made it to South America. And I don't know whether it's because the business language isn't English. So there's not many events that are over there that would take me there. But I think that my personality and my love of partying would fit in perfectly in Cartagena, in Medellin, or in Sao Paulo, or in Buenos Aires. Like I could spend months of my life traveling around.
I can see you dancing a good bachata or salsa.
I think I'll be all right over there. So yeah, that's easy.
I'm actually with Gareth, exactly the same, South America. But the surprising thing about where I haven't ever been in my life, and you'd be amazed about this, right, is I've never been to America.
Oh wow.
Never been to America. I just refuse to go to any conferences for a very long time. It's been over, like I've always been invited to speak and get involved, but I've never been to the States. It just has never appealed to me. I've been all over the world, speaking at conferences everywhere, but America is one I've never been.
I love the US. Like I mean, it's not without flaws, as every country is. But yeah, there's loads of the US I'd love to explore. Hey, you know what we need to do is figure out cracking the code of Google AI overviews, sell our agencies, and then go and travel the world forevermore. That would make me happy.
Last question. And this is, what person, public or not public, you always look as your role model, and why?
This is a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, without hard to pinpoint one person in particular.
Mhm.
Where I tend to have a lot of respect for people is where they're achieving, but also whether achieving professionally, but also personally. So, I mean, we do a 4-day week at work. We could do a whole session on that, Gianluca, so we won't go into the details on that. But for me, progressing in life doesn't necessarily mean getting a bigger job or a bigger salary or a bigger company. It's the happiness that you get from your overall life. So I have many friends in the industry, and I won't embarrass them by naming them, but I look at their lives and I think, you know what, you're doing well. Like you're living in Bali for a bit, you're living in Portugal for a bit, you're living in London for a bit, you're traveling around, you're happy, you're achieving the digital nomad. I hate the term, but it kind of
status.
It's even laptop lifestyle type stuff.
Interesting that you bring that up, because I was just thinking about this about Nick Wilsden. He's not doing the digital nomad thing, but what he's doing in Ireland is insane. And I was thinking, quite impressive, right?
He's reinvesting a lot of his digital marketing agency profits into builders and diggers and rebuilding an Irish castle. But again, he's happy. He's living a good life. His children are happy. His wife is happy. He's happy, but he's still achieving at work. But also, he's not doing 18-hour days, 6 days a week. Like the traditional way to achieve was to work harder than everyone else. I'm very much I will outsmart rather than out hard you. And
Yes.
that's where I have a lot of respect for people. Like I say, I can't pin it on,
No.
Okay. But it's that balance in life where I see I want to live, and I almost already do. I play paddle for 3 hours today. That to me is freedom and winning, is having the ability to do what you want, where you want, go when you want. And any traditional entrepreneur or businessman, Elon Musk, who's an ass, by the way, sleeps in the factory. Like, that's not winning for me. Like, you're not,
No,
you can keep
thanks. I also don't really dislike the culture of hustle. I think it's very toxic. And to conclude, what about you, Rishi? Do you have
My personal kind of like people who are kind of like really impress me are people who are, I find, doing clever things in the industry, right? People are doing really, really smart stuff. Dixon is definitely one. He's been, a veteran of the industry, but he's still building new stuff. But I've known this person a very long time, but over the last 4 or 5 years, my respect for him has grown significantly, and that's Mark Cook. He's a very smart cookie, and the stuff that he builds, the stuff that he discovers. And when I describe to him an abstract concept, he'll sit there, stare at me for 5 minutes, and then come back and think, is this what you're trying to achieve? And he'll understand it straight away. I've had so many interesting conversations with Mark that I find his brain functions in a very clever way, and it's at a level better than mine because he can physically execute some of these hard-end technical things, which I'm incapable of. I can think, I can conceptualize, but I always need someone with dev skills to be able to do it, whereas he know how to get it done.
I totally hear you.
We all have high functioning autism, let's be honest.
Yeah. I always joke, but it's not really joke. It's the reality. I always says that I come from humanities. I don't come from the developer world. So for me, some things, even if I try, are really, really Chinese. A barrier. Okay, thank you, guys. It was a real great pleasure to have you during this 1 hour of conversation. And I'm sure that all the people looking at us and listening to us, because please remember that this is also a podcast that you can hear on Apple Podcast and Spotify, not only watching on YouTube and the Advanced Web Ranking website. So let me say hi to our guest. I hope to see you soon in real life and maybe in the future in a new episode of a search session. And for you guys, remember, this is the classic creator thing. Remember to click on the big subscribe button and to ring on the bells to be notified for the new episode of the search session. Thank you and bye-bye.
Bye.
So